Vishnu sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Shall we start the program?
Yes, yes.
Raji teacher.
Okay, we can start.
Good evening to all of you. Respected coordinator Dr. Raji Calicut, the organizing committee members Dr. Preeti Kuttipalekal, Dr. Sympy, Dr. Prasad, Dr. Mubina, resource person Dr. K. Vishnu Nambudiri, faculty members from various colleges and universities, students, and dear participants. This workshop is designed for students, research scholars, and faculty members who want to learn how to utilize Python to tackle mathematics and data-related problems effectively. I hope that these kinds of skill development workshops are useful for students to increase their technical knowledge and also for getting placements. The duration of this workshop is 15 days starting from today. More than 500 participants are registered for this workshop. It shows the demand for this workshop. I hope that by the end of this workshop, you will be able to write Python codes very effectively. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the workshop on Python. First, I welcome Dr. Raji Calicut, the coordinator of this workshop. I believe that this workshop has been made possible with her sincere effort and dedication. The resource person of this workshop is Dr. K. Vishnu Nambudiri. He is an eminent mathematician with vast knowledge in programming languages like Python, Scilab, etc. In the last month, the Department of Mathematics conducted a 15 days workshop in technical writing using LaTeX. The entire sections of that workshop was handled by Dr. K. Vishnu Nambudiri. A hearty welcome to you, sir. Next, I welcome the organizing committee members, Dr. Preeti, Dr. Prasad, Dr. Mubina, and the office staff, Mr. Praveen, Srimati Beena, Srimati Kavita. I appreciate their tremendous efforts in fulfilling this workshop. Finally, I welcome each and every member attending this workshop. With these words, I once again welcome you all. I hand over the session to Dr. Raji Calicut, the coordinator of this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. Our head of the department, Professor Anil Kumar, resource person of this workshop, Professor Vishnu Nambudiri, my colleagues and friends. Our head of the department has mentioned in his welcome speech why and for what this Python programming. So I don't want to tell anything about this. Our resource person will give a detailed information on this. I am to be here to introduce Professor Vishnu Nambudiri, the sole research person for this workshop. Presently, he is working as Associate Professor of Mathematics, Government College, Ambalappuzha, a place in Alappuzha district. He did his graduation at TKMM College, Nangakulanara, and post-graduation at SD College, Alappuzha. After completing his MSc degree, he moved to the Central University of Hyderabad for research. His research grade was Professor Rajat Tandon. one of the eminent and reputed mathematician. In 2009, he was awarded with a PhD degree in number theory. In the same year, he was also awarded Dr. K.V. Rao Young Scientist Award. He has published 2 e-books. One is Introduction to Python and LaTeX to the mathematics students. Second one is Sage Math and LaTeX for the undergraduate mathematics students. He has many research publication in very reputed, internationally reputed journals. In 2006, he was appointed as lecturer in mathematics at SD College, Alappuzha, where he did his post-graduation. In 2017, he moved to his research institute, Central University of Hyderabad, to take the position of assistant professor in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics. In 2010, he joined in the Department of Collegiate Education, Government of Kerala, as assistant professor. In 2018, he was promoted as associate professor of mathematics in the Department of Collegiate Education, Government of Kerala. Till now, he is working as associate professor of mathematics in the Department of Collegiate Education, Government of Kerala, in the Government College, Ambalappuzha. I welcome Professor Vishnu Nambudiri to this workshop, and I request him to handle the Day 1 program of this workshop. Over to Professor Vishnu Nambudiri.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to convey my thanks to the department for inviting me to give a few more lectures in another workshop organized by the Department of Mathematics of the Calicut University. I hope that I am audible to all of you. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think 1 week back we completed a workshop in LaTeX, starting from the basics in LaTeX up to going somewhat advanced topics in LaTeX, including some basic introduction to PSTICs as well as TICs. So this workshop in Python programming is actually we have planned it to be a workshop starting with the basics in Python, going up to using Python for solving mathematics problems, say it in numerical analysis, say it in some symbolic mathematics, these kinds of things. So our plan is towards the end, we will try to touch upon some basics in the Sage Math software also, which is actually a software born out of Python. We are not actually planning to go into the object-oriented programming kind of thing, which is actually something very much being used by computer science people. Our aim is not actually to introduce highly advanced Python programming to the students or researchers. Our basic aim is mainly to introduce Python to mathematics students and mathematics researchers so that they can solve their problems using Python language, not to make them very efficient or excellent in object-oriented programming or very excellent in Python programming itself. Our main focus will be to to make them understand the basics in Python to do better programming in mathematics. So solving mathematics problem is a main aim of introducing Python in this way. So we will be focusing on mathematical concepts after doing some general programs. We will be even the general programs we will be selecting in such a way that also will have some mathematical content in that. After that, we will be going into specific problems, and we will try to solve the problem so that you will get to understand that how to solve problem in each and every area of mathematics where some computation tools can be actually applied. It's not true that in every mathematics branch we can apply computational tools. It is not true that mathematics facts can be actually established using computational tools. That's also not correct. So why we are learning then Python programming is that suppose that we have a problem to solve in our hands. Suppose that we want to see so many examples solved. Manually doing them will be a little bit difficult because a lot of computation may be required sometimes. Therefore, even in the case of research, what happens is that if you can do a little bit of programming, your research problem can be easily understood. Examples can be worked out. From that, you will be able to find out a pattern. From that pattern, you will be able to probably reach into some result which will help your research also. So that is what our aim is. Our aim is mainly to promote mathematics through Python programming, not to actually promote Python programming in itself. So we are focusing on Python programming for mathematics. So I would like to introduce, tell a few topics, few basic things about Python to start with. Let me start sharing my screen for that. So our main focus is actually on understanding Python for using in scientific computing. Basically, especially focusing on mathematical computing. Even though we say scientific computing means that we must try to understand basics in physics, basics in some other branch of science where computing is actually required. Computing is actually required, but we will try to focus to mathematics as a specific case. Okay, anyway, to start with, all of us probably know, at least many of us might have already heard that Python is one of the programming languages emerged recently, in the sense that compared to C, C++, etc., this has relatively a small history, shorter history. So this can claim to be simple as well as powerful, and simple as well as powerful in the sense that simple in the sense that the writing programming commands in Python is very simple. It's very easy. Powerful in the sense that C programming is supposed to be one of the most powerful programming languages in the world, but Python can do most of the things, or sometimes more than what C programming can actually do in either in computer science, or be it in mathematics or any other branch. So in that way, this is simple and powerful. And as I told, it is close to the natural language. Say that a natural language, the problem is that it is ambiguous. Ambiguous in the sense that we don't know exactly sometimes, from the very words itself, we may not be able to exactly make out that what we have exactly meant by a sentence, because it's ambiguous. We may mean the same word to denote two meanings. But in the case of computer science, in the case of programming in computer, this cannot happen, because same word cannot be used, same type of syntax cannot be used for two purposes. But in the case of Python, except that ambiguity, if you remove the ambiguity from natural language, Python can be supposed to be equal to the natural language. So Python can be thought of as natural language itself minus ambiguity. So confusions are removed from natural language. If you remove confusions, more or less you can say that it's very close to Python. So it has very, very, very elegant syntax, dynamic typing together with interpreted nature. Interpreted nature in the sense that, okay, we will come along with that, and I will try to explain. So another important thing is that it's a free to use programming language. There are free compilers available, and language itself is very free. A lot of editors are available for learning Python. Unlike some proprietary software like Mathematica, MATLAB kind of thing, where you need a license paying a huge amount for using that. Python has a lot of libraries to enable computing, as in the case of Mathematica or MATLAB. At the same time, it's completely free. And the question about in which operating system, what type of systems will work, the answer is that it will run on Windows, one of the most popular operating systems. Not one of the, it is the most popular operating system in the world as of today, other than Android, and Mac, Linux, which means Ubuntu, means Fedora, Manjaro, and so on. Android devices also, you can install a Python called QPython 3N. In Android devices, in your mobile, you can install a Python editor, compile editor, interpreter called QPython. You can search for that in the internet. You can find it out. I will try to show that. So in Android devices also, this Python can be run. So in most of the computer, Windows as well as Linux, and even in Mac, a lightweight prog software called Integrated Development and Learning Environment (IDLE) is usually installed for typing and executing Python programs. But this is very lightweight, and the problem is that if you want to use some extra libraries for enabling efficient mathematical computing, then you may have to install additional libraries from the Python website, which is sometimes a little bit confusing, sometimes a little bit complicated. Therefore, people these days don't use IDLE, which is available free of course from the Python website for typing Python programs. Instead of that, they use something known as Anaconda. Anaconda is a software package available in Windows as well as Linux, and of course in Mac also. That can be downloaded from Anaconda website, and that is actually a full package consisting of lot of libraries which we usually require for most of the computational purposes. But they have actually a non-free version also of Python, consisting of many more libraries. But for the learning of Python that we are going to discuss, the type of Python that we are going to discuss in this workshop, the free version of Anaconda from Anaconda website is more than enough. So this is available for Windows, Mac, Linux, everything. And one more word of caution that there are two versions of Python even these days in use. One is Python 2.7.8, something like that, and Python 3. I think 8 once again. But if you use Python 2.7 or 2.3, they are different in their syntaxes. There is a difference, so we need to be really careful. What we are going to use is actually Python 3.8, because in certain syntaxes Python 2 is different. Not only that, Python 2 is going to be obsolete, going to become obsolete soon. Therefore, it's better to stick to Python 3, the latest version. And in fact, Python can be run using online tools also. There is something called Google Colab. Google Colab is actually a tool which can be used for typing and executing Python programs online. The only thing that you require is a Google account, Gmail account. Using Gmail account, you can straight away log into that and start typing Python programs. I will show how to do that. And yeah, another thing is another online platform for typing Python programs is Cocalc. But Cocalc, the problem is that it is a little bit slow compared to Google Colab. Not only that, Colab is allocating only very small resources for their free account users. But Colab is not like that. Colab is actually very powerful, and it has sufficient power for running Python programs. Therefore, unless you have some specific purpose for using Cocalc. But Cocalc, the good thing is that you can run even Sage programs inside the same Cocalc theme, Sage Math, which is the mathematics software built on the top of Python programming language. But for us, I think Colab is the best option. Google Colab is the best option. And the Python ideally looks something like this. And I will be mostly using a software called Spider. All these software are exactly the same. The output of the software, the way in which they run, everything are exactly the same. There is not much difference, except for some difference in the interface. I will be using Spider software, which is available for Windows as well as Linux for typing the programs and executing the programs and showing the output. You can also download Spider. Spider is actually a lightweight version of Anaconda. It's a lightweight version. So Python code is usually written in files, and the name of Python file will end with the extension py. So once you run the Python program, the Python programs will be executed in another window called Python terminal. So if some error is there in the syntax, so suppose that the error is in the 10th line, the program will run up to the 9th line and the program will stop at the 10th line. That's what is known as an interpreted programming language. Interpreted programming language simply means that program will run as long as an error is met. But compiled programming language, the difference is that program will not run unless every line is correct. Okay, interpreted programming language, till the error point of error, the program will run. Compiled language is not like that. Unless the complete program is error free, it will not even start to. So one more important thing is that Python keywords are case sensitive. So print, if you are using, it is not the same as capital P, small rint, or capital everything uppercase print. They are entirely different. And one more important point to note is that spacing is very important in Python. If you have already attended a course in LaTeX, spacing is not at all important. Spaces will be actually ignored. If there is extra space, that will be ignored. But in Python, it's not like that. Python is highly case sensitive. In the beginning of the starting of the line, not everywhere. In the beginning of the starting of the line, the space is very important. You cannot put space just like that. There is certain meaning for the space. Now, let us start. Instead of discussing about Python, let's start doing. And okay, I will try to show the three interfaces that you can actually use. Not three interfaces actually. I will show only two interfaces. One of the interfaces, it's the Google Colab interface. The other interface is the Spider interface. And as in the previous LaTeX workshop, what I will be trying to do is I will be opening a Google document in which I will copy and paste the entire code, whatever I am typing. So you can open a Colab account now itself. You can also copy and paste the entire content. You can copy that into your Colab interface. You can try to run that without waiting, without typing, without taking too much of time for typing. So after each and every program, I will pause for a moment so that you can copy and paste the entire thing, try it, and ask for clarifications if any needed. So this is the style in which we will be proceeding. So the first thing I will try to do is I will try to show you how to use Google Colab. I'm opening a Colab window. Let me share the Colab window. Okay, the Colab window is visible to all of you, I guess. And in the YouTube, okay, there is one. In YouTube, I don't know, is it audible now? Can someone please check if the YouTube streaming is going well or not?
Yes, yes, sir.
Can you please check, ma'am? The sound is also, is it fine or not now?
Yes,
Initially?
fine. No problem.
Okay, thank you. So this is the I have searched for Google Colab, and you can see that on the top itself there is a link called colab.research.google.com. You can directly go there. The link is appearing in some red color because I have already logged into that. I have already started using Colab. So if we click on that, if you are not logged in to your Google account, it will ask. It will ask for signing into that. So I am clicking on that Colab. So you will see a window like this. Okay, you will see a window like this where you will see actually the files you have already created. I think, created one file here. That's why it's appearing here. Now you can open a new notebook. So if you're already logged into your Gmail account, which you have already probably, so you can go to Google Colab and you can open, you can click on, after signing in, you can click on new notebook here. So a window like this will appear. Okay, once you open such a window, you can see that there is a place for starting typing. Okay, there is a place for starting typing. You can start typing, and even before that, you can probably click here. And there is something called an IPYNB, which actually means that IPython. IPython is it's interactive Python. Interactive Python notebook. That's what's meant by IPYNB. Do not delete that IPYNB, but instead of that, you can just remove that untitled one. You can give some file name. So I am giving the file name, for example, 01. So for the first day, and something like this I am giving. You can give your own names. So after that, so we can start typing here. So what should we type? So Python can be actually used as a basic calculator. This is the window where we are typing the commands. So if you click on, after typing the command, if you click on this play button, the command will be run. What types of commands can be run? So you can straight away type some mathematics expressions like 5 plus 2, for example. Okay, I will try to increase the size of this. I hope that this is now visible, that the font size is somewhat visible.
Yes, yes, visible. It's visible.
Okay, thank you. So once you type, I have actually given some space here, but that space is not really important. What I told is that the space in the beginning of the sentence is very important. You should not give any space here. That may not run. So after that, you can put whatever space you want. So for better readability, I am putting some space here. 5 plus 2. If I if I click on this button, if I click on this button, a message is appearing here saying that run cell. So cell means that the interface, the typing interface, wherever we are typing, that particular block, that particular box is known as a cell, input cell. Okay, that input cell. And the message is that cell has not been executed in this session. That's the message appearing here. And there are several other boxes appear here and there. You can type some, there are some variables box, some files box is here, command palette, code snippet, all these things. Don't worry about these things for the time being. We will try to see what are these options later. And in fact, for understanding Python programming, these tools are not very necessary, but these tools can be actually made use of when you are trying to do something seriously. Okay, for the beginning, in the beginning, we don't have to worry about these things. Let us just ignore this. So after typing the mathematics expression, I am clicking on run cell. It says 7. I don't know why it took that much time. RAM is given to be, how much RAM is given? 1 GB RAM is given, and 12.69 GB disk space is given. I think 12.69 basically because out of how much? 12.69 GB out of 41.83 out of 107. I don't know what exactly is meant by all these things. This 12.69 is out of how much? I don't exactly know. I think RAM out of 12.69. No, that's not correct. RAM I think being used is 0.79 out of 12.69. Disk space being used is 41.83 out of 107.72. I think this is the server related information. I think the whole server 12.69 may be available, of which total 0.79 is being utilized. I don't know the meaning of this thing. Anyway, let us not worry about that thing as long as it's working. So this is how we can execute a simple mathematics command. So instead of that, if I click on shift enter, okay, see what it is. I type this 5 plus 2. If I click on control enter, it will be executed. Okay, control enter will be executed. If I press shift enter, it will be executed as well as a new input window will be created. So the difference between control enter and shift enter here is that control enter, so it will be executed, just executed, result will be shown. Shift enter means that executed, result will be shown, a new input window will be created. Okay, so new input window is here. So 5 into 2, 5 into 2 in the programming language it is 5 star 2. So I am pressing shift enter. The result is coming as 10. So this is the second mathematics operator supported. So now 5 minus 2 is of course there, and 5 by 2, of course we can put a space even here, and shift enter if you press, the result is 2.5. I'm not copying and pasting these things because these things are very elementary and you can use your own keyboard. There is nothing much. 5 by 2. And if we use 5 star star 2, remember, just see that this star star I have kept close. There is no space. You should not put anything like this. This is not correct. Star star is a single operator. 5 star star 2 means shift enter. So this is 5 to the power 2. This is 5 to the power 2. Okay. So double star corresponds to exponentiation. Now, suppose that 5 percentage 2. So this is another operator. So 5 percentage 2 simply means that we are trying to divide 5 with 2 and we are taking the remainder. So this is the remainder operator. When 5 divided with 2, what is the remainder left? 5 divided with 2 in the sense that integer division. So we are using the division theorem in mathematics, which says that A is equal to BQ plus R. Okay. So A is equal to BQ plus R. In that expression, A is equal to BQ plus R. We are asking for R here. So shift enter will give the result to be equal to 1. So these are the basic mathematics operators available in Python. 5 plus 2, 5 star 2, 5 by 2. Of course, 5 minus 2 is there. And 5 double star 2, which is 5 to the power 2. And 5 percentage 2. These are the basic mathematics operations, arithmetical operations in Python. So I hope that this is very clear, and some of you are probably trying in your Google Colab account, is what I believe. So in that case, you can continue to type like this. You can keep on typing. You can keep on pressing Shift Enter so that you will be seeing the result coming downwards and downwards, and newer cells being created and created. But in the case, if you want to create another extra cell, you can put something like this here. Okay. So if you click on this plus code, you can create a cell without pressing on the shift enter. So this plus code means that you can create another input window. Plus text means that you can create a window where you can type your some notes like thing if you want to type, you can type here. So here you can I am trying to learn. Make it bold. What about this? Not saved. Okay. I don't know how to save that. Maybe we can. We need to just click here. So if you want to insert some extra things here, we can insert something. You can insert some simple source. So LaTeX is also possible here. So if you want to put some LaTeX here, we can. Okay, LaTeX is being loaded. I have not tried to use this Google Colab for creating LaTeX code. Anyway, that's probably possible here. You can load some LaTeX commands also. LaTeX symbols at least you can try to load. So these things, okay, let us try x square. I don't know whether this is going to work. This is not how we are supposed to type LaTeX here, probably. I don't know exactly how to do that. Maybe we have to check that how to do that. Okay, I have not used anyway. So this is how we are using Google Colab for typing Python programs. Okay, now I will show that the Anaconda website I will try to show. Anaconda. So Anaconda is here. So if you want to install Python in your operating system directly, you can download Anaconda from here. Here it is showing Python download for Linux because I am using Linux here. So for Windows you can download, for Mac you can download, for Linux you can download. If you click on this, the downloading will automatically start. So this is the Anaconda website, and we can download another thing called Spider. That's another IDE. What I think is actually Spider is using. Actually, Spider Anaconda is actually using the Spider kind of interface in Anaconda itself. But Spider is lightweight. Okay, Spider is lightweight. So you can download. Oh, here also Anaconda is coming. I don't know why this Anaconda is coming again. I actually wanted, okay, let me just see. This Spider itself is there. I think Anaconda itself is giving Spider, but Spider alone can also be downloaded. I don't see how to exactly do that, but because loading Anaconda is very heavy on the resources. So if you are downloading just Spider instead of downloading the entire Anaconda package, I think that's going to be much more easier. I don't see where exactly to do that because I had done it in my operating system using the software manager available in my own system. So I did not go to this website and try to download anyway. So I will be using the Spider interface for typing and showing the Python commands, but you can keep on doing everything on the online interface Google Colab. Okay, there is no difference at all in the execution. The only thing is that the interface will look slightly different. That's the only thing. So whatever I am doing will be applicable um, for your Google Colab interface also. But I will be trying to do this thing in my Spider system, with which I am a little bit more comfortable. Okay, let me start my Spider interface. My Spider interface is starting. So the good thing about using your own editor in your own local system is that the memory available, the resources available is completely under your control. But with the Google Colab, the problem probably is that the memory is actually decided by Google itself, not by you, but by Google. Okay, let me start the Spider interface. I have already started. Let me show that. I hope that the font size is visible. The font size is somewhat it's legible to all of you. Is it? Can you read it properly? The font size.
Yes, yes, we can read it.
Okay, very good. So the problem is that otherwise, if I had actually increased the font size, if I use the usual font size, that will be too small for reading in the online version. So I have slightly increased the font size. So okay, just 1 second. Let me increase the size of this. View in full screen. Is there any full screen mode? Yes. So, okay, you can see that on the top of it, a lot of things are written here. Don't worry about these things. Do not try to type anything there. On the top of it, user bin something Python 3 created on Monday 7/18. That creating time is there. Author name is my username in the system. All these things are shown here. Here, whatever command I have typed in the Google Colab can be actually typed even here. So like 5 plus 2, 5, I think star 2 was the second one I typed. So let me just execute it. For execution, I need to click on this run here, click on this play button here in Spider, or otherwise, if you are using Google Colab, you can type Shift Enter. You can press Shift Enter in your keyboard, or if you are using your mobile device, then you can click on the play button there. So if I click on this run file, then the result will be appearing on the right side, here. So you can see, you will be able to see the result here. So let me click. It's asking for saving the file. Okay, let me just save it. So 01, I'm saving it as arithmetic operations .py, saved. Okay, on the right side, you can see that no output is actually appearing. Did you see that? If I run this, you can see that on the right side, some command is appearing here. Run file. This is the file name, arithmetic operations.py, but nothing is appearing. This is because if you are using the IPython notebook, whenever you are typing an expression and you are running it, automatically it will be interpreted as print the result of whatever operation you have performed. So the command that you have typed in Google Colab is equivalent in Python to print. Print. Now let me run. You can see that two results are appearing here, 7, 10. So in Google Colab also, if you simply type 5 plus 2 and 5 star 2, what will happen is only the last result will be shown. Only the last operation result will be shown, 5 star 2. The first one will not be shown. If you want to see the first one also, you should use print 5 plus 2, print 5 star 2. What I'm saying is, if you are typing these two expressions, both these expressions inside the same cell. If you're typing it in different cells, you are executing it in different times. Execute it at different times. So if you are typing the same two commands in the same window, two operations in the same input cell, not window, input cell, only the last operation result will be shown. But to avoid that, you need to type print 5 plus 2, print 5 star. Okay, in Google Colab also, you should learn the habit of using the print command or print function, whatever it is. So all other the sprint also will work in Google Colab, definitely. The sprint also will work. 5 by 2, 5 star star. Remember that I told already that the space is not very important. You can ignore the space, but you should not put any space between this star. 5 star 2. I will execute all of them together. Print 5 percentage 2. Let me press F5. So all the 5 results are shown. Let me save it as. So if I want to type a comment which is not executable, only for the information, I'm saving it under this name. Okay, I will save this also. Let me open a Google document. I shall share the link of that Google document with you so that you can copy and paste from whatever I'm typing from now onwards. I will be pasting to the Google document. So today the date is 2022 03 07. So I'm keeping the convention. Let me copy and paste the code. After that, I will share it with you. The Google document link is here. So you can copy and paste the code entirely to yourself. So whenever we are typing something, whenever we are executing a program, it is better to keep one input cell completely for one program. Okay. So when we are starting a new program, I'm not saying that to open a new file. No need to open a new file in the case of Google Colab. So each and every input cell can be used for one file can actually be used for one day program, one day workshop. So after that, the next day you can open a new file. You start typing inside that. I think that's better. That's actually the best thing to do because your files will be organized. But if you are instead of that, if you are saving everything inside one single what do you call Google Colab account, Google Colab file, the problem is that you will not be able to make out that what you have typed and when you have typed. If you are arranging it in the day by day order, you will be able to see it even for later purposes. Okay. So that's it. So this is the first file. Now we are moving to make something more serious. This is actually a very simple file. Let us make a little bit bigger program. I am opening a new file. Open a new file. Suppose that we start writing a small program. Previously, we had actually used something like one file for executing seeing how all the arithmetical operators can actually be used. Now we are going to do a mathematics problem. So the problem is very simple. The problem is for computing the area of a rectangle. Computing the area of a rectangle given its what you call the different sides or two sides which are right angle to each other. Okay, length and breadth is given. Find out the area. That's the problem. So row 2 area rectangle dot python. That's the program name that we want to keep. So row 2. Remember that the result will be appearing on the right side here. In Google Colab, the result will be appearing just below the input cell. So how do we do that? Length can be defined to be equal to say 3. Breadth can be defined to be equal to say 5.2, and area is now length into breadth, print area. Saving. Now running. You can say that on the right side, the area is given to be 15.60000. Oh, but that is what is the 01 appearing? Okay, 01 is appearing because of some computational round off is happening there. That's why that's 01, which is negligible actually. It is not exact. This is the case actually. This is the case always. Whenever you perform a computation using decimal representation of numbers, the result is going to be approximate. If you are using purely integer notation, the result is mostly going to be accurate. So, for example, suppose that you use 5.2 instead. It will show us exactly 15. But if you use 5, sorry. If you use, okay. So let me update the Google document. I have updated the Google document. Remember that in the Google document, L appears to be something very close to I, something very close to 1 because of the font issue there. So this is a very basic program. Now let us try to expand it. Even though the program is giving a decent output, okay, this output is okay, it print the area is drawn, that's fine. But we would like to actually see something like the area is and the value. Okay, if you want something like that, instead of this, you can of course remove that, but instead of that, we will add something more. So if I want the message that area is 15 instead of just appearing the number 15, I should type area is in quotes, single quote or double quote, both are fine. Area is in quote, put a comma. Now put the variable area here. So area is running. But now instead of even that, suppose that we want something extra like area of the triangle, area of the rectangle with sides. Area of the rectangle with sides 3 and 5.2 is this. Suppose that we want to print something like this. How do we get that? So we should expand this print command slightly more. Area of the rectangle with sides. So I'm after sides, I'm stopping sides A. After that, I am putting again a comma and see that whatever I am typing inside quotes will be printed exactly as it is, with some exceptions, of course. With some exceptions, I will explain what are the exceptions later. And B, comma is, comma area. Sorry, not A and B. L and fine. Running. See that all the prints are producing outputs. The initial one is print, second one is area is, third one is area of the rectangle with sides 3 and 5.2 is this. Let me update the Google document so that you can copy paste. Updated. If you have observed something very interesting here, here you can see that area of the rectangle with sides L and B. You can see here that area of the rectangle with sides 3 and 5.2. Here there is actually a space between sides, and you can see that after sides there is a space. After 3 there is a space. After and there is a space. 5.2 there is a space. East there is a space. But we have not inserted any space here. There is no space inserted here. After sides we have not given any space. After this we have not given any space. No space is given. But why the space is appearing? The space is appearing because whenever we are using several arguments inside the print command, the output of those arguments will be separated by one space. So if you do not want that space, you can suppress that space. Separator equal to. We just give no space. So two quotes without any space in between. See that space is gone. So if you give instead of that, suppose that you are giving what symbol should we use? Star. Star is not actually doesn't actually make much sense here, but still. See this? So in the print command, whatever you are separating by a comma, they are our arguments of print. So arguments of print, when it's outputted, they will be separated by something called separator, which is by default space. The separator by default is space. If you do not specify anything, that is space. If you want to suppress that, you just give this command. There is actually another elegant way of typing this thing. One more elegant way, which we should probably practice to use. So that is, instead of giving this L, B, area, etc., in between, we can give all these things towards the end, just by giving something like this. So area of the rectangle with sides, so pair of curly braces, and is now after that, after the quote, okay, after the quote, put a dot, format, give L, B, and area. And put an extra bracket because there is a print bracket as well as there is. Okay, so opening the first empty bracket will correspond to this L inside the format. Second empty bracket will correspond to B. Third empty bracket will correspond to area. So in this way, this is known as a formatting. What you call formatting modifier, whatever you want to say. You can this format is actually a keyword associated with this print. So if you execute this, area of the rectangle with sides. So now you should remember that there is no extra separator available here. We have to put our own separator here. Now we can put a full stop also if you prefer. So this is the, let me update the Google document. So updated the Google document, please. Now you can see that the in the output 15.6 etc. A huge number is shown there. But suppose that instead of that you want, so this is actually not the completely accurate because 15.6 is what we actually expect. Not only that, it by default shows how many spaces when decimal space is involved. 1, 2, 3, 4. But in the case of Google Colab, I don't exactly know that how many things are actually shown there. But in the case of Spider, at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 spaces are shown. Suppose that we want to control that. Okay, so we can specify the number of places to show. Let me see how to do that. Okay, let me try. 0 point. So already 2 points. So how many spaces are required? Suppose that we want to show only two. Okay. Suppose that we want to show only two spaces. So in that case, we can specify. Okay, let me try. Colon 0 point 2 f. Point 2 f in the sense that we are using a floating point variable. Okay, I'm not very sure whether it will work. Okay, let me try that. Okay, perfect. So this is equivalent to saying if you use 2.2, then also the result will be the same. Point 2 in the sense that after the decimal place, use only two spaces. So this f corresponds to decimal or floating point variable. Floating point variable in the sense that this is actually in the case of integer, see that the decimal point is towards the end of that number, 5.0. So 5 we will only show 5. So that decimal place we cannot be bring forward to say that 0 0.5 or something like that. It is simply 5. But in the case of decimals, it's not like that. That decimal point is actually floating in some way. I think historically that's the reason why we call this decimal point values to be floating numbers. Decimal point is actually floating. So this is how we can specify the number of places to appear file. Okay. Now one more latest option is there. One more latest option actually can be tried here, which is that area of the triangle with sides. Okay, just before that, put an F here for format. Outside the quotes in the beginning, A, B. No need to use. Oh, sorry. One second. I'm using A and N. So if you want to specify even the digits here, number of digits here, you can specify it like 0.2 f after area colon. Okay, these are many options that you can try. These are many variants of the print command, and we will be most of the times using either this or this. Most of the times we'll be using these two. This is not really necessary because most of the times this is we are in our programs we don't actually want to control. So I have updated the Google document with all these commands. You can try. So we have actually used this very simple program for finding out the area of a rectangle to discuss various ways in which we can use the print command. And one more important thing to understand here is that say that the initial uh, four commands, one, two, three, four. L is equal to 3, B is equal to 5.2, area is equal to L into B, print area. And if you only use print not instead of print area, area is, suppose that we use these four commands, one, two, three, and this four. This is exactly the way in which we school students actually write in their notebooks. The problem of finding area of a rectangle, they usually write like length L is equal to 3, breadth B is equal to 5.2, area equal to L star B, which is the formula for finding the area of the rectangle. Print, instead of print, they will simply write area is, how much is this? 15.60, and they will put two lines below that to show that the problem is over. So, same way we are also typing in Python programming. If you have already gone through a course in C programming, you will probably understand that how simple the Python programming language is, because in C programming, if you are supposed to do a problem of finding the area of a rectangle, then you need to include some standard input output header file stdio.h. After that, you need to start main. After that, you need to declare variables int L, int B, float area. All these things you should do, right? Additionally, you need to type at least some 5 to 6 lines for writing the same program in C programming language. But see that here we have straight away used three variables L, B, area. No need to declare, no need to define anything. We are simply printing. That's it. So this is why I told that the Python programming language is simple, as well as it can achieve almost the same type of results that C programming or any other programming language can deliver. Simple at the same time, it's powerful enough for most of our purposes. So if there is any question related to this small program, I think there is not probably going to be any question, because this was simple enough. Not only that, uh, most of the basic things about the print command we have discussed. So if there is anything, you may please ask now, or otherwise we can go forward and we can discuss some other program. So the way in which we proceed will be that in each and every program we will be trying to introduce newer and newer concepts. Okay, so there will be rare occasions only in which we will be we will be using the same concepts in two programs. Every program we will try to bring at least one new concept. So learning Python programming through programming, not through theory. Okay. Next is that um, instead of what do you call it, trying to instead of trying to enter the values inside the program itself, we can use some input accepting command. So using which the program will wait for the input, program will accept the input. After that, it will process the input. Okay. So the next program we are going to prepare in such a way that the input will be accepted from the user. Okay, the input will be accepted from the user. Okay, let us start a new program. Let me save it also. 03 user input. That is the method that we are trying to learn. So same program we can try probably. As I told, we will use these three lines. In addition, this line or even this line. Okay, the difference is that instead of writing the number inside this program itself, we are going to ask the user to give the input. Okay, so the command we are going to use for accepting input is input. That's it, input. But inside that, we should display a message for the user. So what we are actually asking for, enter length. So this is the message. Okay. Now, one more thing is that whatever we are typing inside a Python program, whatever we are giving as an input using the keyboard into a Python program, that will be interpreted as a string. That will be interpreted as a string. For example, if you are inputting 95, that will be interpreted as a string 95. So what is the difference between a string 95 and integer 95? Can someone try to tell? Someone try to explain that? Is there a difference between 95 and 95? String 95 and the number 95. What can be the difference between these two? Any guess?
Sir, I think both are different.
But in which way?
So we can.
In which way they are different? They are different, of course. String as well as number 95, they are different. But in which way?
So we can access the digits 9 and 5 separately.
Okay, I will. Okay, I will try to explain. I will try to give an example. So, what you have said is correct. We can in 95 we can take out 9 and 5 separately. In 95 also we can do exactly the same thing. I will give you an example where sequence of digits are not actually treated as a number, but instead of that, a sequence of digits or characters. So this is actually a story that I heard from one of my teachers. That what he said is one professor, one mathematics professor, he was talking to someone who told that he was giving some phone number to someone. Okay, 94 24 365, something like that. So after saying all the numbers, the person on the other side, not the professor, the person on the other side, he asked the professor to repeat the digits that he said. So the professor is saying that 94 double 94 triple 0 24 36. Okay, 94 triple 0. Right, type that. So this is the number that he repeated back to that person. 94 0 24 36. So how many numbers are here now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, the professor says up to this much. 94 24 36. The professor said up to this. So the person on the other side, what he said is, so 9 numbers only. So add 5 to it. Add 5 to it. So the person on the other side is a maths professor. So what he did is he added 5 to it. So if you add 5 to it, what will happen? So 36 plus 5. What will be the result of that? So the final number the professor had is this. So he says what exactly the other person meant. The other person meant is not this. What he meant is string addition. So he wanted to treat this number as a sequence of string where we don't want to perform any arithmetic operations. Okay. When we have a sequence of digits and when we represent it as characters, just as a string, we are not actually thinking about performing arithmetical operations on that. we are just treating it as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, just equivalent to that. We don't want to perform any arithmetic operations on that. That is simply a sequence of digits where we are not intending to perform any arithmetical operations. So whenever we have a sequence of digits over which we are not trying to perform any arithmetical operations, we will be considering it as a string. But how do we consider it as a string? Because in Python you will be entering sequence of digits, but you are not going to specify that it's a string or not. It's you are going to perform any operations or not. So in Python, if you want to specify a sequence of digits and to treat as a string, you should specify it like this: add 5 to it. So this is not a string addition, but adding 5 to it here, this is known as number addition. So the person actually meant is this, but what he did is this. This is not correct. This is not what was intended. Okay, that's the difference between these two. So whenever we input something to Python, even if we are inputting numbers, that will be automatically treated as a sequence of digits as a string. Okay, but if you want the number to be treated as a number, therefore, if you are inputting 5 as a number, it will be taken as 5 in quotes. But we want 5 to be treated as an integer. Therefore, while we are asking for the input, we should specify that we want an integer input. So give an int here. This is to convert whatever input is given to integer. But in the place of b, we may probably want not an integer but a floating point number, decimal. So float. Enter. But of course, we can use float even here. But I am saying this just to explain that we can use different words like integer, float, etc. here. So if you are allowing, but the problem now here is that if you are giving something which is the floating number, that will be rounded. Okay, we'll try to see what exactly the output is. Everything else is the same. There is no difference. So that's it. Okay, let me try to run this program. On the right side, you can see that enter length. The program is now waiting for some input. Suppose that I am giving exactly the same number as before, 3 and 5.2. So 3. So enter length colon, exactly the same command is appearing here. I am giving 3. Now enter breadth is appearing here. Enter breadth because I can give 5.2 here. The output is exactly the same. Let me run once again. Enter length 3.1. There is now a problem. 3.1 is not an integer. So that is not accepted. There is no rounding off. It's simply ignored, not accepted. That's it. So when you are giving, if you are giving int, you should give integer as the input. Otherwise, the value error will be there. Okay. So let me update the Google document, entire document with this program. And understand the difference between integer and a row string. So the Google Sheet is now updated with this. Now, suppose that we drop this int and see what will happen. Suppose that instead of this, we are not giving this int there. Suppose we simply remove this int. Just keep this, trying to run. Enter length, exactly the same, 3. Enter breadth, there is no problem as of now, 5.2. See, type error. On multiply sequence by non-int of type float. So here you are getting a sequence of characters. 5 is a sequence of characters consisting of just one character that cannot be multiplied with not 5. How much I gave? 3. That cannot be multiplied. That's it. It's not possible to multiply 3 and 5 by 2 because 3 is now no longer treated as an integer, but 3 is treated as a string. So if you want to see the type of the input, then you can type print type of it. Type is a command for displaying the type of the input. enter length 3. You can see that print type L gives the output class string. This is of class string. Now enter breadth 5.2. Where is the result of but that we have not asked for giving the output type B. Once again trying, enter length 3, breadth. Even if I give 5, it will be treated as a float. Where is that? Class string. 3 is class string, 5 is class float, because we are accepting, so the conversion from integer to float will be possible, but conversion from float to integer, that will not happen automatically. Okay. This is not entirely correct. I am commenting out this. Anyway, I will update the Google document with these also, so that you will get these commands updated, the Google document with all these commands. You can try now. I hope that this much is clear. Let us go to the next program, if this is fine. Now, an important data type. See, we have used basic data like what do you call string. We have used integer. We have used string. We have not used, but instead of that, we try to see what exactly string is. So the different data types available in Python are string type is there, floating point variable type, floating point values is there, complex values are there, and in addition to that, if you want to define multiple more variables simultaneously, then there is a structure called list, something called list. Okay, we'll try to see how to create a list, which is one of the most powerful tools in Python. We'll try to see how to create a list, how to operate on lists, how to make use of lists, all these things we will try to see. Okay, so let me start the next program. Trying to save it as 04 list. So a list is nothing but it's we are creating a number of variables using the same name, but the variables will be named as A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, etc. like that. Okay, so using the same name, we are creating multiple variables using the same name and using multiple indices. So trying to create a list. A list looks like this: A equal to. So suppose that we are creating a list of numbers: 1, 2.5, 2 itself, -5, 19, etc. 1200, 2022, 2021. Okay, so see that how did we define a list? We used a variable name first. This is known as a name. Okay, so whatever we are typing on the left side of the equal sign is known as a name. variable name if you want to call. For creating the name, the basic rules are that you can use alphabets, you can use numbers, you can use underscore. These characters can be used for creating names, but you cannot use. I think this is not permitted. Okay, this is not permitted. You cannot use number in the beginning of a name. Number can be used later. A2, this is okay, but 2A is not fine. A underscore 2, that's also fine. You should not use any other characters for creating names, variable names. And variable names, remember that capital, small letter variable names are entirely different. A is equal to this, and A is equal to this. These two are completely different. These two are completely different. Okay, capital, small variants are completely different. So Python is case sensitive. Python is case sensitive. Just remember that. Okay, so now how to use this list print. Okay, just let us try to see the type of this, type of it, and type of capital A also, type of A. Let me just use this format, and type of A. So type of A is it's a list. Type of capital A is an integer. Okay, these two are different. These two are different variables having different values. Now, if you print, we will focus on small a. If you print A, this will be printed exactly as it is 1, 2.5, etc. Now, how do we access the first element? The first element is named. First element, the numbering starts in the order. In programming, in a computer language, mostly the numbering is starting with 0, not with 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting is starting at 0, not at 1. So numbering is like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Not like 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, it's not that. 0, 1, 2, 3 is the way in which we count instead of 1, 2, 3, etc. So we need to be careful about trying to access each and every element. Therefore, this 1 is nothing but A0. 2.5 is nothing but it's A1. 2 is A2. Minus 5 is A3. Okay. Print A0. So in square bracket, we need to use the number, the index. A0, A1, A2. So what is the last element? 1. How many elements are here? So counting is at 0. Therefore, we can count, and after that we can subtract 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total 8 numbers are there. Therefore, the last number is nothing but A7. Let me update the Google document with this. So updated. Okay, now suppose that you want to get the first three of them. Suppose that you want to get. So if you want to get the first three of them, so first three of them in this means that 1, 2.5, and 2 you want. So you can either use from 0 to 3. So you must be thinking that 0 to 3 means that zeroth element, first element, and second element, and third element. No, it is not like that. Whenever you are using the list, whenever you are using this notation, it will be left open, right closed. Therefore, it will be something like in mathematics notation, this is left open interval, right closed interval. Sorry, left closed. I'm sorry, I said it the other way. Left closed, right open. So this is zeroth element to third element. You should interpret it like this. So you will be getting 0, 1, 2. On the other hand, if you use 1 to 3, you will be getting 1 and 2. That means A1 and A2. So you will get A0, A1, A2. That's it. If you do not want to specify the initial element, you need not specify actually. You can simply say that um, just you give A colon 3. So if you say that this is equivalent to this, equivalent typing 0 colon 3. But now suppose that you are leaving the last one. See here, you left the first element. You did not specify the first one. Therefore, it was taken as the zeroth element from here. So suppose that instead of the first element, if you drop the last element and keep the first element, then what will happen? Like this. 2 onwards. So what will happen here? So 2 onwards. Therefore, 2 minus 5, 19, 1200, 2021, 2022. Therefore, 2 to end. This is equivalent to saying, equivalent to print 2 to last index, whatever is last index. Here now we are actually seeing a difficulty in finding the last index. So if you want to see how many elements are there, so if you know how many elements are there in the list, then you can find out the last index by, so the length of this is known as length. Length of the list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Length of the list is 8. So if you know the length of the list, last element is going to be length minus 1. So length of the list can be found like this. Length of the list is len is the command, and give the list name in the brackets. So length of the list is 8. Now, if you specify that 2 to length of A minus 1, you should not use 2 to length of a, because length of a itself is not an index. Okay, 8 is not an index in this. See here, the indices are 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. up to 7. Therefore, you should not use up to 8. You should use only up to 7. Okay, but because of what I told previously, that only this will not be included, you can safely use this. There is no problem. This is not actually last index. This is last index plus 1 I should type, because if you use 8, then only that 7th item will be appearing. What happened? Okay. Here you are specifying this is length of, this is equal to 8. 2, 8. Since it is 2, 8, if you give 2, 7, only up to 2, 6 will be printed. 7th one will not be printed. So 2, 8 is required. So this you should never use. This is wrong, because there is no item called 8th item. This is not correct. But instead of that, if you want to print the last item in the list, you should give print a length of a minus 1. Okay, let me update the Google document with all this. Okay, I have updated the Google document with all this. There is a YouTube message. What is it after third line? Typing unexpected intent. So what you should do is the space in the beginning of the line you should delete. So this happens when I am copying and pasting from the my spider window to Google document. Some space is appearing. Remove the space in the beginning of the sentence. Space after in the middle of the sentence is fine, but space should not be there in the beginning of the sentence. So remember that if you are copying and pasting from the Google document to your Colab, if there is some space in the beginning of the sentence, remove it. I am typing everything very close to the margin. Okay, I am not leaving any space anywhere here. See that? So if you put a space here, suppose I put a space, let me try to execute. So you can see here, print A to 8 indentation error, unexpected indent. Where is it? Print A to length of A. It is here, not here. Sorry, where is it appearing? A, yeah, because it's interpreted as A to 8. This is in length of A is interpreted as to 8. The error is here because there is a small space appearing here. So keep it close to the margin. That's it. The error will be completely solved. So you need to be really careful about spacing, right? That's what I told. You need to be really careful about putting space. Unnecessary space you should not put in the beginning, because space in the beginning has certain meaning. That we will see the meaning of that in the next session, because that is related to when we are arranging Python programs into when we are dividing the blocks into when we are dividing the Python program into several blocks depending upon some conditions, some looping, etc. In that case only that spacing is required in the beginning. Otherwise, you should not use any space. Okay, do not use space. That's it. In the beginning. After that, you can put any space you want. So after the print also, you can put a space. Doesn't matter. Any number of spaces here. Quite fine. Any number of space here. No issue. Okay. But before that, you should not. In the beginning of the sentence, you should not. Okay, so far we have seen how to divide, how to split the list, how to divide the list, how to see, how to access individual elements in that list. Now we will see some more operations on this. Okay, maybe we can see some more operations on the list later. Probably before that, okay, let us try to define a string as a list. B. B is a string. Calicut University. So now this is a string. Can we access this as a string? B0 is what? Let us see. B0 is taken as C. Okay, this is taken as C. But now, in the case of the previous, this is 2022, the last year. Okay, A 2022. Sorry, let me change the last element. Last element is what is last element? A7 or A6. I will change to modifying list elements. Let me change it to A6. I can change it to say 2000. A6 2000. Let us try to print. Okay, before that, even before that, let us try to print A once again. After that, let us try to print A. Let us suppress these two. So instead of 2021, it is changing to 2000. Okay, now B. Let me try to modify the first. Okay, this is C. This is U. Let me try to modify this capital C to small c. Before that, let us see. This is small c. Let us try to change it to see if it will work. Capital C. Print B. B naught. Once again printing B. Changing. So this is not permitted. Okay. Even though Python is treating the string as a list, string has all the properties as a list, but changing the individual characters in a list, a string list in the sense that a string when treated as a list, it is treated as something like a constant list. You cannot change in between elements, you cannot change. Okay. So if you want to change the in between elements, you should convert it into a list and then you should convert it back to a string. You should convert it into a list and convert it back to a string. Individual characters in a string cannot be changed. This is not possible. Of course, you can completely replace. Completely replacing B is possible. This is wrong. But instead of that, you can simply complete entire replacing is possible. This is fine. There is no. Let me update this. How far I have updated? Okay. The remaining lines are also updated now. Now, one more thing is that with a string, just as in the case of number, you can add something if you want. So, if you add B and say place is something, Calicut University district. District is, I think, Calicut University in the Malappuram district. So, B plus district. So Calicut University, Malappuram, that should appear. But the space is missing. Okay. The space is missing. The new line is missing. Suppose that you want to put a line break. That means that you want to put, you want the district to appear on a different line. Then you can put something like \n plus \n corresponds to new line. So you are adding B new line. Okay, if you do not add this thing, what will happen is that the strings will be appended. They will be concatenated. You can see that Calicut University, just like print A plus B plus C plus D. So the result will be A, B, C, D, E. Or on the other hand, suppose that first alphabets A, B, C, D. So if you print this first alphabets, so A, B, C will be printed. And as I said in the beginning, that adding phone number string 94002436 plus 5 phone number. So what is the result of these two? There is a problem. It's a large number, therefore I don't know whether it will create some error or not. Let us try anyway. No. So the first phone string, this produced 94002436 plus 5 0002436 plus 5 produced 9400243665 as expected. So when you are this plus is having different meanings. Okay, the plus is having two meanings. When we are adding strings, the plus simply means that you are concatenating the last string to the first string. You are appending the last string to the first string. But when you are adding to integers, to numbers, it simply means that it is arithmetic operation plus. So plus is used in plus is used with two different meanings in Python. Okay, plus is used in two different meanings. So there are several other things that we have to discuss related to list. appending something to a list, removing something from a list. All these things we have to discuss, and probably we will discuss all these things in. We will continue with all these things in tomorrow's session probably, and uh, using Microsoft Visual Studio Code is the good for this. Good for what? Good for typing Python programs. There is a comment. There is message in the chat box. What is it? Google Microsoft Visual Studio Code is good for. Um, can you please explain that, Harsha? Okay, Microsoft Visual Studio. Maybe there are several editors. There are, I think, several popular as well as non-popular editors available for typing Python programs, because Python program has become somewhat a very basic program language that is being taught in not only in mathematics, in computer science also. What I understand is that Python is one of the very first programming languages being taught in this. Okay, so there are several editors, of course, but the thing is that Microsoft Visual Studio, if someone is using Linux, that may not work, because I don't think that Microsoft Visual Studio is available there. But Spider is good enough for almost all the purposes for installation, and for online attempting online Python programming. Then I think Colab is the best thing to try. Okay, I have not used Microsoft Visual Studio for any of these purposes. Not only that, I am now inside a Linux machine in which I don't think that Microsoft Visual Studio will be available. But not only that, I think I am much more comfort. Not only that, I have configured this Spider for using in this workshop. I have increased the font size. I have arranged the code. I have created a directory for all these things. Therefore, I think so. There is no difference at all between using any of these editors. All these things are going to work exactly in the same. So, if you prefer to use Microsoft Visual Studio, of course you can use that. There is no problem. Or Colab or Spider also you can do that. Okay, thank you for the information about Microsoft Visual Studio. As I told, we will continue with more data types like tuples, dictionaries, etc. And tomorrow we will try to introduce conditionals like if, else if, and loops like for, while, etc. We will go into more serious programming tomorrow. If there is any question, if there is any clarification required in today's session, you may please ask now. And I'm stopping. Otherwise, the session. Uh, the clarifications, if any required, you may please ask now. Okay. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Tomorrow also we will be meeting exactly at the same time. You may ask for any clarifications if needed. Okay.
Sir, please put the feedback form in the YouTube.
I have already done that, sir.
Okay.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes, please.
Sir, I've got one program as my assignment for that Python subject. It is, sir, that finding the answer that by using that Sridharacharya formula, minus b plus or minus. So, sir, I'm taking that coefficient a, b, and c, but sir, I'm not getting the answer. So can I, sir, show that to you so that you can find out what is the problem?
You have what you are saying is that you have already typed the program,
Yeah, sir.
and what is the error message happening there?
Actually, I'm not able to understand that. Sir, can I share my screen so that you can tell me?
Instead of that, what I think is that you can just send me the program at my email address. I think that's much more better, so that I can just have a look at that, and I can try to tell you that where exactly you are missing something.
Okay, sir.
I
Sir,
can
will
give.
you please share your email?
Yes, right. Just 1 second. So my email address is here. I think you send the code to me. I can try to find the error in that, and most probably what happens is that there might be some programming logic kind of problem also can be there. I can try to see that. I can tell you the answer after that, only after seeing the code.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Any more doubts? I think no doubt. If you have doubts, please ask now.
Maybe later also they can, if they are writing their programs, later also they can ask, or otherwise they can send the emails also if they have some specific things to ask. Maybe in tomorrow's session also they can get the clarifications. There is no problem. So then we can probably wind up today's session.
Okay, in that case, we can wind up the today's program, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Vishnu Namboothiri. Thank you all. Your feedback form is available in the chat box. Please submit it without fail. Otherwise, you will lose your attendance. That will negatively affect your certificate. So each day you submit the feedback form. Okay. Good night. We meet tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, we can.